It is another day, another video, and hello all of you. This is the Sage of Calidor. How's it going? I'm going very good. I just finished a day of getting quite a bit of work done for school, for graduate school, and I feel so glad. Anyway, today I'm going to be talking to you about the Lizardmen DLC. Even though it might be a little bit, well, not exactly late. I suppose you're thinking, Sage of Calidor, you're catching up rather late, huh? Well, real life gets in the way, so let's get down to business. So what do I mean by Lizardmen in DLC? Well, it is a DLC downloadable content for the Warhammer Total War series. We're largely talking about Warhammer Total War 2, and during the series of Warhammer Total War and Warhammer Total War 2, Creative Assembly always created a DLC. And some of these DLCs are units, but others are race and faction packs. We're talking about examples like the Grim and the Grave, the Empire versus the Vampire Counts, and the King and the Warlord, the Dwarves versus the Greenskins, and let's not forget my personal favorite, the Queen and the Crone, which consisted of both the High Elves and the Dark Elves. But not to worry, today we are going to be talking about the Lizardmen and the Skaven. The Lizardmen, one of my favorite factions besides the Elves. Skaven, not so much. But anyway, I have a strong belief that the theme of this DLC will be the Seer and the Prophet, or the Prophet and the Seer. This will be a unit pack, a faction pack of Skaven versus Lizardmen with the Prophet of Sotek, Tenehuan, and the Grey Seer, Thankwol, going off against each other. Thankwol the Grey Seer and Thankwol the Seer and Tenehuan the Prophet. And why do I think this is an excellent matchup? Well, they've already had a scrape or two in the past. In the Warhammer book, Temple of the Serpent, Thankwol went off and fought against a Prophet of Sotek. Okay, I'm pulling your leg here. It was not Tenehuan, but it was a Prophet of Sotek. They had, you see, this is the story. Tenehuan and Thankwol, this is the story, Thankwol is in trouble with the Council of the 13, the ruling government of the Skaven. This is the Gotrek and Felix series, and he needed something to get into their good graces again, or else he's going to be dead. So much so that he has to kill a Prophet of Sotek. So, the Games Workshop, who had Warhammer at the time, developed a different Prophet of Sotek to take Tenehuan's place. However, despite this little hiccup, this book is likely going to be seen as a potential inspiration of these two opponents. Right, so who is Thankwol? Well, he is a Grey Seer, and I admit I don't know very much about the Skaven units because I don't use Skaven. I do not play Skaven. I don't care for Skaven unless for like Krogar's punching bag or Grimlock's chew toy or just arrow target practice or whatever. But anyway, I will tell you about Thankwol. Of all the Skaven in the world, Thankwol is the most despicable, backstabbing Skaven there is, and a culture that emphasizes backstabbing, assassination, and double cross on a higher level than Dark Elves. It is saying something. I mean, you're talking about a guy that will do anything to get ahead, even betray his own race to increase his agenda and power on and to hopefully eventually gain a spot on the Council of the 13. One of his most infamous exploits is he took control of an army in Gotrek and Felix after his superior officer died in a tragic accident involving an exploding donkey. When I mean tragic accident, put a quote unquote, it's likely not a tragic accident. Well, anyway, we're here now to Tenehuin, the prophet of Sotek. Well, he is also known as the prophet of the Serpent God, and he originally came from the city of Chakwa, and he took control of the survivors after they were of the Lizardmen after they were driven out by Skaven. And he was interested in these new plaques. These obscure plaques of Sotek which foretold the arrival of the Serpent God Sotek. And he started preaching about these prophecies of Sotek returning to the land of Lustria and aid the Lizardmen in their hour of need. And normally, this would put him in trouble with the Lizardmen's mage priests, the Slann, because he is challenging the concepts of the older ones. But he backed up his rhetorics, his preaching with bold acts in which he started destroying one Skaven army after another and sacrificing the Skaven in cruel ways to prepare for the coming of Sotek. Then, eventually, at the height of this war of extermination between the Lizardmen and the Skaven, the mighty Serpent God finally came. A twin-tailed comet rose in the skies, and legends talk about how a huge tide of serpents of every single size answered Tenehuin's call and started terrifying the Skaven and wiping them out. The Skaven were so terrified of the snakes, they were so terrified that they tried to flee and they escaped. However, legends report, and they said that a giant serpent emerged out of a volcano, leading a huge tide of snakes going right into the water, pursuing the Skaven. I find this is going to be a rather interesting faction because, spoiler alert, the twin-tailed comet of Sotek is actually a parody of the true comet. But we'll get to that later. This is Chakwa. It's also called the City of Gold in the land of the Lizardmen, and you can guess that from where it from the cities surrounding Chakwa, where it is likely Thanquol's starting position is going to be roughly around here, give or take. Roughly around there. Now, the real question is, where is Thanquol going to be? Now, first off, I apologize. This is an out-of-date map. It doesn't have a few other stuff there. But anyway, bear with me. So, where is Thanquol going to pop in the Eye of the Vortex? Well, he has limited places because, well, can't pop him anywhere around in Ulthuan because we have Lethanar right here. We have Tyrion right here. We have the Everqueen Ilaria right here. And as a rule of thumb, there has to be a few factions separating. The playable factions. And, of course, we can also say Nagaroth is a bit holed up-ish. I mean, we still have Elethanar and Nagaroth right around here. We have Malekith right here. We have his mother, Morathi right here. And we have the Crone Helibron somewhere around here. And let's not forget the Grand Hierophant Katep somewhere around right here. We also have Mazamundi right around here. And yeah, we'll have Mazamundi right around here. Lokir Felhart is somewhere around here with Lustria. No, wait, sorry, my mistake. Lokir Felhart is somewhere around here. Teclis is somewhere around here. We have Khalida right here. And we also, let's not forget the Tomb Kings right here. We have Krokgar right here. And we also have Skaven right around here somewhere. Tretch Craventel. Skaven right around here somewhere. And we have Queek Headtaker right here. Not to mention we also have Pirates, and Pirate may be here or here. I don't know. But as you can see, Lustria is being more or less filled up right here. Okay? I know this is confusing right here, but please bear with me. We have several factions right around here. To be honest, I think the only way to put Thanquol is right up here somewhere. Or right here. Or maybe if we're crazy enough, decide to put him right here. There's limited spots for Thanquol to be put in on the Vortex map. But good news is, the Mortal Empire's map, there is more room. Yes, I know, outdated, I am sorry. Anyway, for Tinahuin, somewhere right around here. For Thanquol, it is likely he is going to be right here in Skaven Blight somewhere. which is going to be rather problematic should they decide to put in some southern realms, which I hope they do. But we will see what happens. Anyway, how are we going to see Tenehuin's faction, the host of the red host of the Serpent God, or some other interesting faction like this? What is Tenehuin going to offer? Well, he is going to be a Skaven. Yeah. Sorry. Mind fart. Sorry, that is total blasphemy. Please forgive me. He is going to have a skink-friendly faction. Okay, Sage of Calidor, say it again. Tenehuin has a skink-friendly faction. Okay. His faction is going to be skink-heavy. What does this mean? It's going to mean benefits for having skinks in your army. Maybe throw in beasts. But another thing, bonuses for fighting against Skaven, and diplomatic penalties against Skaven. Likely, he is also going to receive bonuses for killing Skaven. And based on the Queen and the Crone, which I'm sort of basing all this stuff on, it is likely he is going to have a different right. I'm willing to bet he is going to have the right of Teapot. Now I'm going to explain this. The right of Sotek is already there. Alright? The right of Sotek is already there. And in terms of the Queen versus the Crone, there is going L'Oreal, the Everqueen. The Everqueen is a high priestess of Isha. Isha was already a right, so she gained the right of Lilith, the elven goddess of the moon and prophecy, which gave her certain bonuses with Sisters of Avalon. So it's likely, following a similar pattern, Tenehuin is going to receive the right of Teapot. And who is Teapot? Teapot is the mysterious feathered serpent god of the air. So, what are we going to see? Likely, it could be something like bonuses for skinks, bonuses, increased ambush chances, perhaps. It could allow something like one of the rights owned by the used by the Tomb Kings, which allows you to use desert swarms, those Tomb Scarab swarms, as an army ability for a time. Or it allows you to summon a Coatl, just like a Slan Mage Priest as maybe a special hero or a unit. Because Coatls are one of the rarest creatures in Lustria, and they are revered by the Lizardmen as chosen servants of the Old One God Teapot, and they are venerated by skink priests. So, let's see new unit types. Well, we're going to have Ripperdactyl Riders as a more heavy-hitting form of air power in contrast to the Pterodon Riders. Ripperdactyls are quite fierce. I will say this. Akali and Spartacus has a better video talking about Lizardmen, possible Lizardmen units, and I'm going to link it below. Be sure to take a look, but I will just go over the basics. Riperdactyl Riders as more of a punching air cavalry force. Razor Dawns as another war beast, likely heavy hitting, and because of their spikes, likely armor piercing. If they want to get even crazier, they say that they do damage to opponents that are just touching them. But from my understanding, Razor Dawns have the power to throw their spikes, so that is cool. Also, we have Salamanders, essentially walking lizard flamethrowers, flaming attacks. That sounds cool. We also have jungle swarms, like lizards and snakes, coming all over the place. Likely, I don't know how is this going to be used. I think it's going to be something similar to the Desert Scarab swarms used by the Tomb Kings, but I could be wrong. They could be a faction ability used by Tenehuin. But anyway, another potential unit are war engines, like the Engine of the Gods or the Altar of Sotek that is put on top of ancient Stegodons or Basilodons. We have the Dread Saurian, this large, powerful predator. We also have potential more unit types like Troglodons and Coatls. Now, I will say this. These two creatures make excellent mount options. Now, before I get into the mounts, I'll tell you what these two creatures can offer. We got the Troglodons. They are also known as a Pale Death. Pale Death. They have a nasty bite. They have toxic venom, and they are blind, but they have I could be wrong. They're virtually blind, but they hunt best with other senses. So, this is a rather nasty counterpart to the Carnosaur, because it's likely going to be something like it charges right in, or it sneaks right in, it fights, but at the same time you spit venom, doesn't do as much damage, but oh my word, it's going to weaken your opponents. Also, they can serve as mounts for skinks, skink priests. So we have a potential mount option. And on to the Coatls, they are magical oriented, so they might have some bound spells. And they are highly intelligent, and they have the power to alter the jungle around them. So maybe like ambush, maybe something like stalk, or maybe like they have mixes of the lore of life and the lore of the heavens. The Coatl is going to be an interesting creature should the Lizardmen put it in, because Creative Assembly put them in for the Lizardmen, because it's sort of like a magical creature. It's a magical creature that has their own bound spells. In earlier Warhammer editions, dragons had certain spells. If you upgraded your dragon high enough, your dragon is not just a mount, but can also be counted as, like, say, a wizard with access to fire magic. And if they do something like that, it's going to be pretty impressive. Also, coatls can also be served as mounts for certain high-level skinks, like skink priests. I mean, you look closely right at the picture, you can see a skink sitting on it. Now, I have a theory about Tinehuin, for example. First, I will say these two are likely going to be mount options for skink priests and skink chiefs. Now, at first glance, you can think that is crazy, right? Well, so far, their mount options are stegodons and pterodons. On one hand, you can say that maybe having 2 extra mounts would be too much, but on the other hand, this could cause things to be more creative. You can have, say, for example, a skink chief having a troglodyte as a first mount option, then upgrade to an ancient stegodon or a regular stegodon in the future to add sort of like a general up in the fight sort of thing. And you can have a skink priest, their first mount could be those pterodons, or the pterodons, and then upgrade to say a coatl. Now, what would be really awesome, what would be really cool, is Tinehuin's mount options. Like, Tinehuin is believed to be, in his models, be on a carpet of serpents, and that could be his first mount, like a special, say, jungle swarm as his first mount. Then he upgrades to a troglodyte because Tinehuin is one of those skink warriors, priests, who actually gets into the fight of everything. And as his final mount, he gets a coatl. Now, is that entirely lore-wise? Not really, but, and this but is very important, Queen Khalida of Warhammer, Queen Khalida of the Warhammer Tomb Kings factions, what am I saying? Sorry. Well, anyway, Queen Khalida of the Tomb Kings has a mount option like that Construct Giant Cobra. In the tabletop game, she does not have a mount. So, it would make sense that Tinehuin will be granted a boon of that nature, and having something like a flying serpent would actually make sense to him. 4 regiments of renown, I have no major ideas, but I will say that a older alteration of the Pterodon Riders would be fantastic. I mean, this is an older model of the Pterodon Riders from all the way up to until 7th edition, and then they for some reason changed the models to 8th edition. So I think, like sort of a vintage old-time sake model or unit based on these models would be fantastic. Now, to close up with Tinehuin, what does he have for options? What might he have? Well, In addition to what I said before, I would say poison attacks. He has a blade of the serpent's tongue. This sacrificial dagger was crafted by the most skilled of Chakwa skink artificers and enchanted to drip with deadly venom. We can go that even further in that and say one of his army, his lord abilities is that his entire army has poison attacks. Can you imagine have Saurus warriors with poison attacks? Man, the enemy is not going to have a good day. The plaque of Sotek. Upon this stone plaque is inscribed an extract of the prophecy of Sotek that grants Tenehuin additional warding, like say I don't know, like a high ward save, but these are going to be special weapons for Tenehuin, so maybe sort of like a bound spell that summons jungle swarms, or maybe even something like similar to Kalida's Venom Staff. That would be so awesome. That would be awesome to see. And for mounts, I mean, look at the picture right there. Jungle Swarms for his first mount, and I will tell you this. You are surprised. You will be surprised. What is your first assumption when you see that lizard? See that awesome lizard? A skink chief, correct? A fighter. Well, actually, no. He is, in fact, a skink priest. And what I believe is he is an interesting type because he's one of those smaller guys that are technically fragile, but he can he looks like he's menacing in a fight. And I feel like to emphasize that, he needs to be an exception rather than the rule for the skink priests, because the usual skink priest might go up to a stegodon and later an ancient stegodon. Tenehuin shouldn't have that. He should be in the fight like with a troglodyte for a second mount and then possibly a coatl as a final mount. That would be an awesome thing for Tenehuin. Well, my friends, to finish this up, I will tell you this. The rats have had it easy. They had it good, but now their reign of terror has come to an end. The prophet of Sotek, the herald-bringer of the Serpent God, has finally come. His coming is imminent.